G'day you gorgeous people and welcome back to Politics Made OK. So we made it to the end of 2021. Just. And last week I ran down the top moments of the year from hell. Or maybe more accurately, the second year from hell. Yeah, thanks COVID. But what about 2022? Dare you ask what's in store for Australia? Well, stick around as I count down the top 6 things you can expect for 2022 on this week's show of PMO. This week, I'm going to be taking you into the future. And what will be in 2022? Great Scott! Do I have a crystal ball, you ask? Nope, I pretty much just looked at the last year at everything the government said they'd do and didn't. We may as well just call this episode Crap We Didn't Do in 2021. So let's jump right into the 6 things you can expect out of 2022. At number 6, it's that pesky federal anti-corruption body. This is something that really heated up at the end of 2021. But what the hell is it, you ask? Well, it's this thing the government promised they'd do 3 years ago. Now, you might have heard of the ICAC in Sydney or the IBAC in Victoria, both of which are state anti-corruption bodies. But you probably haven't heard of a federal corruption body. And that's because it doesn't exist. That's right, and there's plenty of corruption going on at the federal level. I mean, you remember the sports rorts? And that colour-coded spreadsheet showing grants being allocated based on electorate? Yay, politics! Well, there's no one to really tell the government off for that. Except for us journos, the opposition, and you very angry constituents. But all any of us can really do is just make a bit of noise. Yeah, I know. I'm a natural. Now, an anti-corruption body, or as the government calls it, a Commonwealth Integrity Commission, would investigate corruption at the federal level and punish anyone seen to be perpetrating it. That's the hope, anyway. But it wasn't able to get up in 2021. That's because Labor and a bunch of the independents are really against the government's proposal, which wouldn't really make a lot of the hearings and findings super public. That's a big thumbs up for accountability, right? Scott Morrison's big worry is he doesn't want a federal anti-corruption body to be like the one in New South Wales that saw his mate Gladys Berejiklian stand down as Premier.
What was done to Gladys Berejiklian, the people of New South Wales know, was an absolute disgrace.
The thing is, other members from within his party were actually pretty keen to trigger debate on this. Tasmanian MP Bridget Archer even crossed the floor, which means that she voted against her own government to bring on a debate about a federal anti-corruption body. And it really threw the coalition. The reaction of Liberal MP Tim Wilson pretty much captured the vibe.
Is the motion seconded? The member for Bass.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. I second the motion. I don't take this decision lightly.
Yeah, nice and awkward. So will 2022 be the year we finally have an anti-corruption body at the federal level? Here's hoping. At number 5, we have an Indigenous voice to Parliament. This is another huge piece of legislation that was pretty much just put on the back burner in 2021. And it's not like it's an essential part of reconciliation with First Nations people, right? To put it really simply, an Indigenous voice to Parliament would be like a body giving Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people a voice in laws and policies that would affect them. This has been in discussion for like years now. We all thought it was going to happen in 2021, and then nada. The Indigenous Affairs Minister Ken Wyatt has said he wants this to happen soon.
You want that done, passed through Parliament before the next election, correct?
That's my aspiration.
So I guess we'll just have to wait and see, won't we? Coming in at number 4, it's the Religious Freedoms Bill. Yet another thing promised years ago that hasn't happened. Remember that referendum on same-sex marriage to which most Australians voted in favour for? Religious communities became a bit concerned about how something like that is going to affect them. To appease those fears, the government announced it would put in place a religious discrimination bill. While there are laws prohibiting discrimination based on your gender or if you have a disability, there's not really anything enshrined that prevents discrimination based on religion. And so, enter this bill.
I'm very pleased to present the Religious Discrimination Bill. The protection of what we choose to believe in a free society is essential to our freedom. In a liberal democracy, it is like oxygen.
So yeah, Scott Morrison put it to Parliament, and that's about as far as he got. The government's pretty far from passing this legislation with heaps of concerns raised. Like whether gay teachers or students could be kicked out of religious schools, who would say any repercussions against that decision would be religious discrimination. For now, it's another election promise shelved for 2022. At number 3, it's the anti-vax movement in Parliament and across Australia. This was a really big theme in the last sitting fortnight of 2021, and there is no way it's going away. In the final sitting fortnight, One Nation's Pauline Hanson put forward this bill that was meant to stop discrimination based on your vaccination status. Basically, it was just calling for all the rules and mandates regarding vaccines to be scrapped.
What is our country coming to? For those people out there who are saying, oh, well, get on with it, just get the vaccination. It's all right, don't worry about it. No, it's not all right.
And you know what they say? You can't keep a loud Queenslander down.
We want our freedom. We want our choice. It is our choice what we put into our body.
Yeah, there's no way Pauline Hanson isn't bringing this bad boy up in the new year. Especially considering her bill got the support of 5 coalition senators.
What the hell happened to my body, my choice?
And yes, by the time Parliament sits again, like 90% of Australians will be vaccinated. But there simply will be sections of the community that just don't want to get the jab. Yep, we all know someone, don't we? So as long as there are people against the jab and against all those rules to make you get the jab, there will be this anti-vax movement in Parliament. Yep, good luck with that, ScoMo. Coming in at number 2, we have the biggest event of the year. It's a federal election. We didn't know for sure that an election wouldn't be in 2021 because the PM can call it at literally any time. Now, when in 2022 an election will happen isn't for certain, though I do give it a good old guess in one of my previous videos. Now, interestingly, we only have about 4 weeks of Parliament sitting before an election would be called sometime in May at the latest. And that does beg the question on if the government really can pass those key pieces of legislation before time runs out. And if they can't, well, what's another couple broken election promises? And coming in at number 1 for next year, it's the moment Australia finally reunites. Now yes, we are pretty much there. And yes, there is just one state left with a hard border. And that state, of course, is WA, who won't be bringing down that border until February 5. And being from WA myself, that's a bit depressing. But it will happen. McGowan promises that that date is set in stone.
WA will ease its hard border arrangements at 12:01 a.m. Saturday the 5th of February. This date is locked in.
And that means that Australia will finally be one again with the Hermit Kingdom after so long apart. And that brings us to the end of the top 6 moments for 2022. Remember to like and subscribe to the channel because I'm going to be tracking all that stuff I just told you about. I'll be looking at when it happens, how it happens, and the insanity that's caused as a result. One thing's for sure, it's going to be a long year. And I'm going to take you through every single minute of it. So tune in next time for another show of PMO.